Hello. Welcome back. It is time. You're right. Welcome back. Retro again. Indian Revenant, I saw Foil on earlier. Welcome back. Been an entire week since we streamed. Oh, less than a week. Wow, this is the most frequent streaming we had in years. So imagine that. Anyway, welcome back. Hope everyone had a great retro week, as it were. Anyone done any fun retro stuff? Got the Amiga on deck up here again. It's been weeks, if not possibly months, since we streamed an Amiga. We keep coming back to that for obvious reasons, but we're going to do some fun stuff tonight, I hope. This is the first time we're getting the Amiga 1200 hooked up, which is the one I picked up at VCF Midwest last year, so. Yeah, I talked about I need to have some sort of pause music on when I have the please wait or please stand by. I don't really have any music on there. It's very, silent. So it'd be cool to put something on there. Maybe I'll do something like that. I suppose we got a copyright mark on the Dune one. But evening Doppler, welcome. Just felt like playing some Amiga games tonight, because why not? And evening Computer Force Wally, welcome. CompuForce Wally, sorry. I don't know why I added the Computer Force. And Disappointed Sun, evening. Hey, thanks, appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate the sentiment as well. I'm getting more and more into the groove of creating content, or at least streaming, and I am sort of pondering around Evening Bluebeard. Kind of pondering around working on some videos at some point. Just life is just really busy, and streaming it's easier to fit in. The way I've set it up now, I can much easier drop in and just stream than it is like a big setup process. So, except I will go into detail on the capture setup here in a minute, because that caused me some heartburn yesterday here. I set it up for my own perfectionism, kicking myself at anything else. That's right. Appreciate you stopping by real quick, and have a good evening. So for those that are recurring viewers, you know that I use the VLC application for my DataPath Vision capture card, which is kind of a pixel perfect capture card if you dial in right. If you don't dial in right, it looks like crap. So it's not a turnkey system. There's no way around that. So right now, I bought a GBS control, like a RetroScaler brand, whatever, all in one, from AliExpress, and it works great. And that's what I used when I streamed Amiga last time. The problem is that the Dell flat panel I have here, which is an ultra sharp, the 2007 FP whatever, which is a great panel, it does not like 15 kilohertz through VGA or DVI. It can do 15 kilohertz through S-Video or composite, I think. That's all it can do. So it's like two different parts of the monitor versus the older Dell 2001 that supports 15 kilohertz natively. And for those that aren't aware, then 15 kilohertz is what, most game consoles from the era output. That's kind of your 240p, right? And that's also what a lot of these computers from this era output, like the, the Atari, the Amiga, just anything like that. And most flat panels will not support that resolution, or refresh rate, nor will or sync rate, I should say, and nor will a computer PC CRT. So you have to have an adapter of some kind, or have a multi-sync, tri-sync monitor if you're lucky enough to have that. So I couldn't watch what I was playing when I did that with that setup, because I was capturing it with the scaler, but I couldn't get that output to also go to the Dell. It would not like using a splitter. Evening Sick on Blues, welcome. It did not like using a DVI or a HDMI splitter. It just would turn off every time, and I fought with the back and forth. So what I did now is that I actually have the signal going through my normal, actually I'll go here with the action cam and I'll show you. So this is the cable that goes to my regular, so this is the Amiga 1200 then. This is the cable that goes to my normal, guest spot. And you guys are probably familiar with that. It's like I keep a guest set up here so I can plug in a computer easily, right? This goes to my normal VGA selector that I use. And that goes then out to a splitter, VGA splitter. And that splitter on one path goes to my data path, which is how I normally capture. I took then the cable off the Dell monitor and plugged it into my scaler, and then feed it back HDMI to DVI. So now I'm looking at the scaled picture on my flat panel, because it's rescaling it to a 30 kilohertz signal, and I'm also capturing it in a way I would like to say is about pixel sharp as possible right now. And I figured out the resolution you need to capture Amiga on And it threw me for a loop. And maybe someone who else watches this later or someone who's familiar with this is like, well, duh. But the resolution on the Amiga is very different. I'll show here if you go into the preferences here and go into screen mode. The visible size is 640 by 256, and that makes no sense, right? It is not a 4:3 aspect ratio, and you're correct. It's a wide aspect ratio, and then it was assumed that their CRT would rescale that to fit. So that's why the resolution is just all weird, and I kept capturing a low resolution, but then when I dialed it into that in my capture software, then I was able to get this kind of more pixel perfect thing. So this is a raw capture you're looking at directly from the Amiga. And it's much sharper than it would be going through a scaler. There's plenty of good scalers, don't get me wrong, and it's ones that handled Amiga flawlessly, but it was a personal thing. Just really wanted to get that working, and now it is working. So anyway, that was a big tangent moment there. Krispy Kreme is awesome, yeah. We have a couple local donut spots here at our Evening Alan Stark, welcome, that are kind of trump all the chains, if you will. When people are coming and visiting here, they go for those local chains. Like, you know, local donut's going to be often better than a chain one. Not saying that any of your Krispy Kreme or Dunkin' Donuts, all that stuff is bad. I sure enjoy their donuts too. We have a Dunkin' Donuts down the street, which is very dangerous. So anyway, that is to say that now we are capturing, and I set up all the captures, so we should automatically switch and correctly set the resolution and be all good. Inuboka, welcome. And it was just a pain, but it's one of those, like, when you dial in the software to capture it correctly, for me at least, it just clicks, and it makes it's so frustrating because you're taking an analog signal, right? That's the problem. If it was all digital, it wouldn't be a problem, but this is an analog signal that outputs a weird non-standard resolution that capture cards today wouldn't know what to do with. So yeah, exactly. It's not a bad way to think about it, right? It has to match up, and that's the thing with phase. When you're capturing with a VGA analog signal, you have to line up the phase, and I assume that's with the waveform of the signal. If that doesn't line up correctly, you get interference or improper scaling. So what it's doing now is that I have the resolution at 640 by 256, which is the one that Amiga outputs at PAL high res, and I have that upscale like 4 times, maybe 3 or 4 times, and then it's linear scaling, so it's pixel it's pixel by pixel. There's no interpolation or mixing of the pixels, and then OBS is doing area scaling to squish that to 4:3. So that's how we get here. That is a lot of work to say, here's the picture of the Amiga. But yes, this is the unit that I picked up at VCF Midwest, and many are familiar with the 1200, I'm sure, but so we streamed with the 500 before and the 2000. 1200 was kind of the last hurrah from Commodore to make a home Amiga, and they used a newer chipset, the AGA chipset, the Advanced Graphic Array, I think they call it. I think it was renamed to match VGA to become like a competing standard or something, but it was not called that originally. And so this has better video output than the original Amigas. And that is to say, things have to be adapted and made for it. And when we say better, it's not, it was not enough. It was too late. But take it in a vacuum. This is an amazing home computer because it has all the expandability. That's a compact flash slot, which is why there's a stack of compact flash cards. We'll get to that in a minute. And it has a built-in hard drive slot and everything. It was just kind of like, if you're going to have one Amiga, the 1200 is probably the most complete one. So yeah, picking this up was one of those, like, it's always expensive to get one refurbished or fixed these days. And it was not cheap, but it was not as expensive as I thought. So it was one of those, like, dang it, I'm just going to do it. Because I saw it refurbished. The guy had, recapped it, fixed it up. It was turnkey. Bring it on, bring it home, turn it on, play. That's it. Like, there was no more messing around. I did have to buy one upgrade, I'll tell you in a second, but that's what made it just really hard to resist. I ended up picking that up right there, and it's become one of my favorite Amiga since then. I still love the 2000, I still love the 500. Those are great machines, so I'm going to play more with them. But the 1200 is the one I go to now most of the time when I want to turn on the Amiga and play something. So a big part of that is the fact that the gentleman had fixed it up. I mean, he, the case is painted, that's fine. It was probably pretty yellowed. He had refurbished it, fixed it all of it up, and again, turnkey. That was a big deal, because I have another 1200 that's in pieces. Will not boot. And I got that for free, which is great, but I just could not. I mean, I spent a lot of time trying to troubleshoot it. I've gotten tools and software, and nothing gets there, so. Evening, Phil Chise, welcome. You know, good question. There might be. So the thing is that on this machine, what I like to do with these machines, that there is, we're going on tangents here now, but it's hard to talk about the Amiga without talking about the Amiga Vision software bundle pack. And that is a great toolkit and everything, and it's basically a pre-done image you can load onto your original Amiga. And it will basically give you a turnkey with like every game you can ever imagine, basically, in a menu. But I like doing this when I build the machine from scratch. I install the operating system, I copy the games I want over, and just kind of build it that way. It's a fun tinkering process versus it's really nice sometimes to have, here's all the options, go play. That's great. I like when I'm doing this, and since I can swap hard drives, that is to clarify. One sec, get the freaking card out of here. This compact flash card has an Amiga Vision image on it. So this has the full thing. I can just swap it out if I want to use it. So that's the nice part. Yes. So we have many games on here that are using the AGA chipset specifically. There's a Top Gun 3 movie coming out. I haven't seen the second one yet, so I can probably watch that. I'm just so far behind on that kind of stuff. But yes, we have plenty of AGA games on tap today. We'll play some of those as well. We will play some games. The other thing I wanted to try or mess with tonight, we'll see if I feel up to it or if I'm just going to go for it, is to try and network this thing. There's a lot of considerations with that, and I have an adapter I think should work, so this we're going to be like going in blind, basically trying to figure out. I have networked my Amiga 2000. That worked successfully, and it was kind of a lot of hops. But first off, we might just play some games. So, well, I meant, we're talking about Top Gun, was it Maverick, right? The movie that came out a few years ago? Because we got a lot of games on here now, and most of them run just dandy. There's interesting because some games do mess with the resolution. They use like kind of off standard resolution sometimes, and that makes it wonky for the capture. So we'll see how this goes. But right now, it's about as clean as you can get. But for example, here's the Pinball Fantasies. It's the second game in the Pinball series, and Fantasies. I have the box for it, I think, actually, was re-released with the AGA version. So that's what happened, Revenant, is a lot of these games were redone with AGA graphics to take advantage of the new graphics software or the new graphics capabilities. But it was almost, again, too little too late, and it was more of a rebundling of existing software. There are certainly games that take advantage more of the AGA in a more cutting way, but above all, I think most of them just use more colors. You know, it's the end of the Amiga line. You look at the CD32 and everything, which is basically 1200 in a console format, more or less. I'm sure I'm oversimplifying it now, but it has AGA, and a lot of those were just ports. They're using like, it was basically like an Amiga 1200 with a CD attachment. There was no like additional step. So, wow, that's very specific. The thing with the Amiga is that it's to me the 16-bit computer. Like, it does all the stuff you'd expect from a 16-bit computer. It's like a Super Nintendo computer in that sense, right? It has a lot of, and you think back to that late 80s, early 90s time period when they were at their heyday, and you got so much. The Amiga was so popular because it could do so much, like a demo scene, the music, and you know, productivity and everything. And it had a lot going for it, and it was really advanced too. This is a later version of Amiga OS running Workbench 3 here, which is a basically the last release version of Workbench, and at least from Commodore. And a lot of the features were still there or already there in the first versions of Amiga OS and Workbench that came out in the mid-80s. And at that point, it was impressive. Like, as an example, like the memory, you could just slap in more memory and automatically allocates it. You don't have to assign anything or do anything. This has 2 meg of memory on board. I put in a 8 meg expansion module. It's kind of needed to play a lot of games because the 2 meg on board, especially running games from hard drive, just does not work very well. And it was just you slap the memory in the expansion module, and there you go. Off you go. So we can actually go in and look at that systems. Everyone has this application on their Amiga. You gotta have it. It's switching there to NTSC. So this is a system information module or a program and everything. So yeah, it did. It did have like, but it was kind of intended to be like Amiga or Commodore was pushing quite a bit to say this is the multimedia thing, and that was their like thing. But multimedia back then, from the 80s and into the 90s, you think CD-ROM probably, right? Like you specified, but the Amiga was so much more on being able to combine graphics with sound and everything, and the capabilities this had because of the custom chips in the late 80s was second to none. I mean, there's nothing else that could beat it until you started getting Sound Blaster, you started getting VGA, you started getting CD-ROMs, and at that point, it surpassed it. There was CD-ROM attachment to the Amigas as well, but they never really took advantage of it very well. Compared to what the PC world, look at like a game like Seventh Guest, right? That's kind of, to me, harkens to when multimedia took over the PC space. And it was the thing. So, yeah, we have, you can see AGA Lisa chipset on a 500 or a 2000, for example. You would not get this. It does not have the AGA capabilities. Yeah, it was like multimedia before multimedia, if that makes sense. When I think multimedia, as I'm going to guess you do too, it's the CD-ROM era, right? That bundle software era in the early 90s. And Amiga was doing multimedia before that in their own way, which was, again, more with like pretty compelling graphics and audio and all mixed together. Like the games you can get, it's just ridiculous. So, yeah, there are some ridiculous upgrades you can slap into these things. And there are modern upgrades too. You can put in like 68060 in these machines that would make them rival a P1 machine, you know, on that perspective. So, yeah, that's the thing. There might be a specific one, but it could definitely do a lot of those things before the CD-ROM thing. And there were CD-ROM attachments to the Amiga 500, but the question is how much you got out of it. Like, there weren't really any games took advantage of it. I think a lot of the time with this era is that they shoehorned like soundtracks or more videos on, and that was about it, you know. Yeah, I'm sure they do. And I don't think the Amiga was like multimedia in that sense. They had their own phrasing in multimedia. But for example, we can look at here. So the built-in memory here, this is the chip RAM. And I'm not going to go into details because there's a whole science behind that. But the RAM has to do with what chips can access it. So the chip RAM is available to the custom chipset. So that's where think of it as the shared memory for the video and stuff like that. And then there are two chunks of 4 megabyte memory. They're split up from that 8 meg, but it all is, as you can see, expansion memory. It's just available to use as fast RAM for other processes. But now we have a total of like, 10 meg available. Not for every process, but you don't have to do anything. It just automatically handles that. So everyone has an Amiga. You have to run the speed test. It's just mandatory. I'm sorry, we're just going to get this over with. So the 2000 is the same as Amiga 500. You can see this we're a lot faster than stock 8-1200 at 14 megahertz. So the reason for that is the extra memory allows it to just offload a lot of stuff, and it makes the CPU run dramatically faster. You can see, like, it's a freaking deer doubling of performance compared to, yeah, look, probably a doubling of performance. And that's just from extra memory. There's no CPU upgrade in this machine, just the memory. And that's what that does. So a lot of people upgrade their CPU in these Amiga 1200s as well. And I kind of want it for now, at least, is keep it stock, because I want it to have just, I don't want the rocket blasting experience at the very forefront. I want the default configuration. So yeah, this is a stock one. So yes, that particular memory module does have an FPU in it. So I haven't succumbed loose. I have thought about it, but I feel like it's a really cool, neat idea. I'm not sure I necessarily would. I don't know. It's not something that interests me now. I think it's a really cool project and that it exists and what it does. But right now, at least, it's not for me. I might tinker around with it at some point. And what Succumb Blues is mentioning there is that someone has, or there is a project called PyStorm, and it basically takes out the CPU on the Amiga and replaces it with the Pi. And because then the Pi emulates the CPU, it can run at ridiculous speed. So on Amiga, just it has no CPU. It's an emulated CPU at that point. And it gives you a lot of benefits, like a lot of extra features because it's running emulated. So it's a really cool project. I feel like it borderlines a little bit too on the, you might as well emulate it almost in that sense, which no shade on the product is awesome, but it's not something I've messed with myself yet. Because I haven't really, when I play the Amiga, I don't like, I'm going to play the latest and greatest, like, 3D accelerated game, not accelerated, but even though there is 3D effects capable cards on the Amiga and everything, there's like, that's not what I'm looking for in the Amiga. I want that more late 80s, early 90s experience enhanced, which is why I have a hard drive, which is why I got the memory expansion, some creature comforts basically, but not a, this is, faster than any Amiga ever made, so. All right, that's a lot of talking. Maybe we should play a game or two. I do want to see, we do have, let's actually check out Pinball Fantasies here, and then we'll switch to the AGA version quick too. We'll see what the volume is here now. Also, yeah, I mean, yeah, the Amiga had plenty of platform-exclusive games. There's a lot of them that came out on DOS, too, but the Super Nintendo probably, I mean, let's put it, realistic here. Game-wise and how much it's spread, I don't think there's any comparison for what Super Nintendo pulled off compared to what the Amiga was doing. Like, yeah, the Amiga is cool and everything, but let's not beat around the bush here. The Super Nintendo was just eating his lunch, right, on volume. And, to be fair, I'm going to switch some settings on the capture here on my side, because it's not right. Freaking Europeans and their weird resolutions and stuff. Music is just epic. I just want to show this. I'm going to switch to the AJ version in a minute too and just compare it. So I prefer, honestly, Pinball Dreams more. It's just more nostalgic for me, but listen to the sound chip. I gotta do the mandatory since I have them split on channels. Here's the neat trick, right? So both channels, right only, left only. Yeah, the Amiga does not have stereo mixing at all. It basically has like 2 channels per side or whatever. So that's how they mix it together. But if you listen closely, then you'll hear left and right or whatever. I think the Vampire is basically FPGA, right? There's also another CPU upgrade possibility to make your Amiga ridiculously fast, right? Yeah, the pinball games have just amazing music. Swedish. Actually, Digital Illusions is now known as DICE, which you may be familiar with. Yeah, I think so. Put it this way, if you're listening now, you hear the different sound, right? Now I put the left channel back in. Now I'm turning off right channel. So, it's gotta be stereo, so... and that's the thing, too. I love all these, like, cutting-edge, extreme, like, upgrades. They're really cool, but it's not something I often chase. Oh, okay. Oh, well. It must be that YouTube is changing it down, because I thought I had stereo on. That might be YouTube, because I am definitely streaming it in stereo, so at least from OBS, but alright, I'll figure it out. Either way, let's take a look. So, the problem is that I'm going to play with the keyboard now, so I have to, like, twist my head like this to do this, so it might be a little... Oh, unless it's going to crash. Ah! Neat. Oh, it's still an Amiga. Oh, there it is. It just took a long time to load. Like, I'm bending my neck, so try and remember how it looks right now. Yeah, I'll mess with it later. I was curious about the stereo casting or whatever, but trying to remember how it looks like. We'll switch to the AGA version of it, so this will run on the stock Amiga 500, right? Because you think about it, you're making a game, you want it to have the broadest, amount of people as possible. So you will make to the lowest common denominator, which was the Amiga 500, possibly with a memory expansion. That's it. That's what the vast majority of Amigas were. So if you made your game AGA only, So that's a lot of games are re-released with an AGA update. So trying to remember how this looks, so I'll switch to AGA version a bit with more colors, so... Yeah, exactly, Philly, that's the thing. And to me, as a retro enthusiast, it's not hard to go step up to one tier higher on the computer scale, right? Like, okay, making a super fast Amiga gets you into easy territory. The kind of 46 can run laps around it, right? So, now, you expand your Amiga tremendously, it's going to be much faster, but get what I'm saying is that once you hop to the next tier, you might as well just go up to the next tier, and the Amiga needs to, in my opinion, kind of hang out in that area. Now, super boosted Amigas are really cool too, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of cool things you can do with them. There's new updates to Amiga OS coming out all the time, and like, there's cutting edge stuff you can do, so. And there's one in particular I want to try, actually, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Raspberry Pi 500 and the 500 Plus. The designer of that, the little wedge computer things, they are a direct homage to the Amiga, so I kind of want to get one because someone has basically made the Pi Amiga, and it's a full bare-bone Amiga install, and it makes the super fast, modern Amiga, which can play all the games. So I kind of want to check it out. Be warned, I am not good at pinball, but I still enjoy playing. Yeah. Yep, like, there you go. I will say tasteful upgrades are useful. Like in this case here with extra memory, where I put the 46-100 into the 46, and that gave it from 66 to 100, and that was a very useful upgrade, but I didn't see any reason to put like a P1 overdrive in it or anything like that. I have a P1 if I want it, right? So... Oh, come on. Wow. Yeah, exactly. But to each your own, right? It's still fun when you do the very extreme cutting edge stuff. I think I've told the story before, but wow. Boy, I'm just killing with this. Literally. Maybe I have told the story before, but not. So I lived in an apartment in a house when I was in college. Like a basement in like a regular big house. And the guy who owned the house, I worked for him a little bit in construction over a summer. And he told me, so DICE, which was Digital Illusions, yes, the DICE today, that's Battlefield series and all that. Digital Illusions, when Pinball Dreams took off and it exploded in popularity and it sold a lot, the guy who was trying to run it was basically sitting, or he had an apartment, brand new apartment in the middle of Gothenburg in Sweden. And it was moving so fast that he just moved in, and this guy that I worked for at the time, he was helping him out with projects and stuff, but he was just sitting on a box in an empty apartment, stuff being moved in, and just making phone calls, business arrangements like for, you know, sales and packaging and all that stuff. Let's actually go to the, we'll go to the AJA version now and see if we can get that to run nicely. So this is the AJA version. It's a souped up one that then takes advantage of the AGA chipset that's in the Amiga 1200. So there is that part to upgrade to something you couldn't as a kid, right? The question is there any major difference? Maybe not. There's more colors. But you see then they could say like we've launched the AGA version. There's probably more gradients in the colors. Otherwise it's the same game, right? But yeah, put them side to side. I think you'll see more gradients. Definitely say it would run slower, but that could be my configuration too. Wow. I suck at this table. Wow. Pinball Master right here. Holy cow. Yeah, Pirates was a great game too. And in some cases, I'm not sure this is running. Maybe I just need a different version of this. Holy buckets. I want to showcase it, not just die immediately. I prefer the tables and pinball ratings, to be fair. I'm not a huge fan of these, but if we go to, let's see. Let's go to another pinball game, which I think uses the AGA a lot more. Drop that. What was it called? I thought it was under F. No. There's another, and of course I haven't arranged all this stuff here very well yet, but I've loaded a ton of stuff on here because that's just, you know, that's what you do. There's another pinball game called Fulfilled, I thought. Uses AGA. Apparently not. I don't have the AGA one separated, unfortunately, so I didn't think that far ahead. There's a lot of games on here, and the thing is that the Amiga got so many ports too from like Commodore 64 and stuff like that. There's a lot of games that aren't really, you know, necessarily worthy of the Amiga name, as it were, or what it did, but one was like, I gotta remember too, and there's other ways to do this, right? To do more proper sorting and Kalaspuffsexpressen. If you're anyone Swedish, you'll know what that is, but that's the same one. Like there was quite a few games that were re-released on AGA. Would have been in here. I could have sworn I literally played it. Boy, memories just... Q... You know, I'm not sure if I played Alien Breed 2. I have played Alien Breed 1, but I'm terrible at those games. Slam Tilt, that's the one I was looking for. So this is a game that you can tell is more in the later era of the AGA and uses the chipset to greater effect. So we can play some Alien Breed 2. I think I have it on there, but it's a great top-down shooter. And you're getting into the era now where people knew what to do with the AGA chipset a little more, and you get really good 2D graphics. It's not a 3D powerhouse. It was never intended to be, but it's just enhancement. You get better colors, better, like, you know, quality of the video. Loading. I got a stretcher getting now too. And also, at this point now, they're very familiar. This is pretty late. And they're very familiar with the sound chip and everything, and they can take advantage of everything, so. Can you see? Still. More keys. It's a launch. Turn. Welcome, Reaper Soon Lake. I think I misspelled that or mispronounced it. That's fine. The Amiga is just a fantastic music machine. There's no way around it, and the demo scene alone is proof of that. So, all right, let's see. So this will be an AGA maybe exclusive title. I could be wrong, but this looks to me, you can tell like they're more used to, and there's a little more color gradients. It's Okay, now this is intense. It gives you an idea on like what AGA could have done more, and they already had another video chip in production or planned, I think, but it just never materialized. They ran out of money, and whoops, didn't do that well. But this is more like a showcase of what AGA might have looked like, or you know, when they used it better. So the cool thing now is that there's a lot of games coming out, new one. Oh, that's true. That is a pretty high scoring. What is the score to if I'm getting that much already? I'm suppressing many, some pretty cool pinball games on here. Oh, Dender to Energy Manifold. Ow. That's a very high score. Bonus was 40 million. Skill shot. 30 million, one hit. Wow. Oh, I was just flipping around. No pun intended. But still, that, you know, it gives an idea more what AGA is capable of. To me, it looks a lot cleaner. And if you're familiar, the Amiga uses like sample-based playback, right? So it's mod music, so all the stuff has like samples and is replaying it like kind of like a MIDI. But still, there are... Now, let's take a look at another table real quick, too. The Pirate. The cool thing now is there's a lot of, like, homebrew and fan-based games that are being made using AGA. I think that's called a Scorpion engine. Someone built, like, a game engine that you can program Amiga games in. And we got a lot of cool games coming out of that. And I like to do that, a stream separately, for that, with, like, just new games. That'll be fun to check them out, but... I'm terrible at the pinball games on the Amiga, but I can spend quite a bit just... Sometimes, like, I want to just do something quick and fun. I'll just power on the Amiga and play a couple of rounds of pinball. Fail miserably, but... did something. You know, like in many times with pinball, you gotta learn the table and where to shoot and everything. One thing to execute too, but you gotta know where to go. Like, if you look at it from perspective of, you know, a VGA-equipped PC. Flash. Then this is not that impressive, right? I mean, we have some pretty awesome pinball games on the PC too, and a lot of those pinball fantasy and stuff like that were ported to PC as well. So, oh, today's daisy. So yeah, this is AGA, but you got to rewind to think about the Amiga as a whole was designed like and released in 1985. So at that point, the PC had like nothing. So no, we got a pity shot there. Blank. Boy, there's just so much stuff going on in this table, I don't even know. Definitely are. Again, thanks to the AGA, you get kind of a lot more of a fill-in. Now we're getting into the, Ow. Right in the middle. I think just the, that was the Amiga, could do it natively. I think it uses bit planes or something, and I'm not the expert here. I think that, if you look at MVG or Modern Vintage Gamer, I think he's done some videos on it, how the Amiga generates graphics. I can't remember exactly. Again, you can look it up, because I'm not going to be able to do it justice, but the way it uses scrolling and stuff, it, like, re-renders too much each frame, like a double render almost, so that's why... it can do smooth scrolling and stuff like that, but it can't really do 3D graphics very easily. It can, but it is a huge effort to do it, which is why it just, you know, when 3D became popular, then the Amiga was just not keeping up, so. Right in the middle. That's Super Pirate. I don't know why he's wearing that, so. Alright, well, that's cool and all. There we go. We'll do the entrance to Monkey Island. So you gotta listen to that. You know, get to listen to it in the glorious Amiga format. I also want to show off the pixel perfect capture. So, hey, feeling shred? Stopping by. I appreciate you getting a recommendation and hanging out. That's the thing, the Amiga was really ahead of its time on many aspects, but then they just kind of squandered that, unfortunately, so... Yep, exactly. And the Super Nintendo was designed with a purpose, right? The Amiga is a general purpose computer, which can do gaming, let's be frank. Most people were playing games on this thing, right? But it's not how it was marketed. So I have an Atari ST, I have this, and I have a 46, and then the PowerPC Mac over there, and they all can play Monkey Island. Probably should do a video with all of them running at the same time. I think I have Gloom, yeah. But, you know, you look at a console like Super Nintendo, it was designed specifically for games. That was its only purpose. So they built in things like all the modes, right? The Mode 7 is just one out of many modes it can do out of the hardware. And having developers be able to take advantage of that easily makes a huge difference, right? You don't have to have a huge jump to program games for it. So... Yep, they like their monies. They like their monies. Fortunately. My neighbor who got this Amiga 500, I just, you know, he'd go in and play this for hours and hours. I stopped inside once in a while and look at what he was playing. It was a really funny game, you know. But I didn't see him much. He was just in his room playing Amiga all the time. But I just remember seeing bits and pieces of him playing this game and just getting a little further and, you know, whatever, so... I heard Doom 2. Oh. I heard Doom 2. Wow, I'll have to check that out. So it's actually a Doom 2 WAD with Monkey Island stuff in it? Yep, that's what brought NVIDIA to where they are, right? It's the gamers, but they don't make them enough money anymore. And to me, Monkey Island belongs on the Amiga. That's like how it feels to me, or at least that's what I remember from the game, right? It's just that's where it belongs. It feels right. That's what it listens to that intro. I'm trying to think if we should play another game. We haven't really played that much. Or if we should, I can check one more AGA game maybe, and then... And... well, actually, we do need to... see. We got to do Roguecraft. A new version of Roguecraft came out recently. which DX version, which has some enhancements. So I'll have to play that a little bit because it's a new Amiga game, a commercial release and everything. So from Badger Punch Games, as it were. Huh. I have to check that out. Roguecraft, we played it in the past, but it's a roguelite dungeon crawler. Turn-based. It has chickens in it for some reasons. Lots of chickens. Oh, that was the secret. No, what's the credits? Oh, credits, I see. It's not showing on my... fucking... problem is the Amiga resolution is just... You have 3 different classes, and I suck at all 8 at once except the fighter. I'm gotten very far in this game, but... We played this before, but it's a turn-based, like, dungeon crawler, so... That's to say, nothing happens. And I'm actually using a... I'll show here on the action cam, but... A custom gamepad. The only reason I use this is because it rebinds the up to a button. So you can play platformers like a normal person. That's not familiar with the Amiga. It uses up for jump a lot because it only supports one button by default. So you're pressing up a lot, which is really frustrating on platformers. So... in this case, you can... well, this game doesn't matter because there's no real button pushes or up movement in that same sense. Ow. And chicken. And you work your way deeper and deeper into dungeons, so it's a pretty neat dungeon crawler. If you're going to have a game... I mean, it's a really cool new release for the Amiga. This run on a 500, but I do believe it likes a faster computer, so... If you're unlucky, you die right away. And it randomizes the layout, and also randomizes what potions do as an example. So... you can get pretty far in a run, and just like, I got pretty far in one, and then just I ran into some stuff that just insta-killed me, and that was it, run over, so... Like, nothing happens until I move, so the game is, like, basically frozen in time until I move. And you took some environmental damage there. And you get upgrades the more you fight and everything. There's a map in the top right corner. What I do enjoy about this game is that everything's in one screen. There's no start menu. I sure did. That was a fun stream. Alright. Definitely got stuck. It's, you know, feel a pretty obtuse game, right? And a couple times I got stuck and like, what am I doing here? But afterwards I bought the re-release of Hexen and Heretic or whatever. That night I did, and oh my goodness, it's so much smoother to play. It takes away a lot of those problems, but we got lost somewhere to go a couple times. I don't think we ran into too many like direct combat challenges, but yeah, it is. It's a neat thing, right? I want like the promise that Hexen has with this medieval, like, you know, Doom-style game and everything. It's really cool, but then you're actually playing it, and it's obtuse and a little challenging, you know. Art. The purpose of this is to find the key and then go down the stairs for each level. Chickens can definitely hurt you, so... So potions have a random... Regenerate, okay. Potions have a random effect each time, so kind of need to use a potion to see what it does. So that was regenerate. Gets my health back, I guess, so... May need to watch some runs on this game. There's the... I don't know what the blue potion does. Oh, did anything. Well, I should tell you the stats. I don't have the key yet, but At the end, it will actually tell you what each potion did, so you can kind of register. But again, it's randomized. Like, the green potions always health, but the other ones are randomized, so. But, yeah, this Amiga, of course, has a pretty big hard drive, so I want to load it up with some more stuff, which needs us to need networking. So we're going to give it a try in a minute here now, and I might... Oh, there we go. Secret. Achievements, too. But now I have the key, so I can go to the next level. The original game, that's not the DX that was released first, did not have... they did not have an overworld like this. They added a lot more, like... Added the game out, I think. Yep, I have played it pretty much on every Amiga stream, I think, because I do enjoy it. I never gotten far in it, but I do enjoy showing a new game. Yeah, next level. Now we're in the dungeon. And you get new monsters showing up and everything, too. There's a bat. Murdernated it. Excuse me. It's allergy season here, too. Taking my meds, but boy, everything's just pollen everywhere right now. Everything's bloomy. Dust covering the car. Let's see if we can just die here. No, I can't. Gotta find a hazard, I think. Regenerate. Yeah, true. There we go. Oh, no, no. It should tell us what the potions did and everything, so. Chickenizer. Oh, I just turned everything to chickens, so. Evening again. A bee guy indeed. Just as I died on purpose here to be done with that game, because I kind of want to switch over and try a little bit of networking stuff. Just because I'm in glad of a punishment, so. Unless anyone has any requests for specific... I think you said Gloom, right? I think I have it on. I guess I didn't load it up. I appreciate it. But yeah, I want to get networking going, because right now, so I have a couple options on how to get stuff onto this Amiga, right? You can use floppies, which of course is very, very slow. You can use a Gotek drive, which is, you know, faster, but also pretty slow. You can also use, like, different, like... Oh, yep, I saved it. I have played it, but I do have the box copy for it, so... No, they're over here. There we go. See, I just didn't line up. I haven't, so it memorizes the location once you store the window, and I don't think I've done W yet. That is Worms 8 meg. I'm not sure that actually runs. Either way. So you can have different, like, compact flash cards, right? And what I have, actually, I put it down. Yeah, so what I got, I'll show on the action cam right now, is a compact flash reader that goes in the PCMCIA slot, because the Amiga 1200 has a PCMCIA slot over here. And there is one challenge with this. So even if I insert this, it won't do bupkis right now, because it does not. Work is a drive letter. That's a drive. RAM disk is a drive. System is a drive. So we can actually go in and look at, go into apps, sysinfo. You can look at drives here. So, oops, I actually got to be in the right window too. So you can see here, DF0, we have CF0, which is compact flash. And DF0 is, yeah, no in drive insert, I'll get to that in a second. DF0 is the floppy drive, and then HD1 and HD2 are the two hard drives on here, which are both on a compact flash card. So, what this does is normally this would just mount it, but I can't, because with the 8 meg memory expansion, that actually takes over the PCMCIA slot. And normally you'd have to be restricted to use a 4 meg expansion. However, this particular card I have has a, let's see if I can remember like this is now. And it's been a while since I did this, so I apologize for the slowness here now. Where? Oh, that's right. I saw that. I was tempted to get it. I just wouldn't have much use for it, but I think it works on Amiga, right? Where am I? Just kind of forgetting now. There we go, W Startup. So this particular software here, keep an eye on the RAM here now. I'm gonna take this compact flash card out first. There we go. I unloaded that. So now we have 4 mega RAM, but more importantly, loading. Takes a while to initialize it. Bam! There's a compact flash card. And this is stuff I have copied from my PC. So that's a pretty useful way to get stuff over. And I grabbed a couple of the software we need for this, for like example Roadshow, and there's also the drivers for the network card that we're going to mess with in a second. And it's a good way to get like big bulk storage over, because you can use the compact flash card. And the software allows it to use, and it can read PC-DOS data. This is PC-DOS storage stuff, right? So this particular one needs that. And also one other thing that's pretty cool, I haven't tried it yet, but in a recycle bin at work, I noticed that someone had chucked a whole bunch of PCMCIA cards in there. These are actually flash drives. They came out of network switches, but they are, as you can see, 48, 85 megabyte flash disks, and it's just literally just a storage drive for a flash card. So you can just pop that in and use it as storage. You can even use the Amiga to expand that as kind of like a swap memory if you wanted to. I think that's pretty fancy. So I haven't tried those yet, but what we're after now, actually, says I work in IT administration, and there was a laptop I got. We've actually streamed that laptop before, the Toshiba, a couple of years ago now. But it came with a whole bunch of network and modems and stuff, including an actual dongle, a Fable dongle. So I have a network card with dongle. However, the Amiga does not like 1000 cards, to my knowledge. And anyone correct me if I'm wrong there. It does not play nice with that, because, you know, 100 megabit was not really a thing on this one. So, but in that pile was this megahertz card, which is a 10 megabyte, or a megabit, with one of these like pop-out jack things. So we're going to try and network this sucker and see if we can make that work. I don't know how that's going to look or if it's going to work. We'll find out. I really don't know. So we're going to kind of wing this and see if we can make it work. My end goal with this will be to be able to browse or FTP to my retro NAS to copy files. Because if I can do that, I can get files onto this machine much easier and quicker, right? So, so first off, we need to copy the stuff over here. Yeah, I'll put a transfer folder here, I think. Shows, yeah, there's stuff in here. I'd make a new, or we'll go back to this view so you can see what's going on. Just so I have somewhere to drop it so I can find it. Copy. Copy. A little bigger. Roadshow is a modern, paid-for TCP/IP stack available for Amiga, and it's maintained and everything. And it's one of those, like, you can pay for it, and it just takes away a lot of the pain. You can use old school, because there's no FTP stack, or FTP, there's no TCP/IP stack built into Amiga OS at all. You have to install it after the fact. And there's plenty of alternative options. There also is a, whoops, yeah. Can we rename that? We have to extract this in a bit, so that's why I didn't want to have that horrible name there. All right, we copied everything we need, so I'm going to remove. The cool thing is I don't have to eject or anything. I just yoinked compact flash, and then I run my thing again, and now it allocates the memory back, so now I have 8 meg again. So the reason why is that because my expansion card has a jumper setting on it that allows it to be software set. A lot of other memory modules or expansion cards might have it hard set to 4 or 8, or you have to set a jumper to it. But fortunately, there's a jumper setting that allows me to software manipulate it. And that's a pretty nice thing to do. So I can use this to get maximum memory without opening the case or doing anything. So, all right, let's see if I remember how the heck to do this, because it's been a while now. So I'm going to do this also as I'm turned. So asking about the drive letter earlier, the way it works is that like that. That's your drive letter. It can be anything you want or rename to anything you want, but that's your drive letter. So, so we have. Let's see, I gotta remember. Yeah, there we go. We want to. So Lij is the archiving utility basically on the Amiga, or one of the archive options. So we want to do X, I think. Extract files with full path. Yep, there we go. Oops, I forgot to do the X. There we go. All right, so we're gonna run an installer here for the network card, which is basically the drivers for it. So I don't think I have the tool installer. Copy that too. See, there's so many things on the Amiga, like, you think that should just work, but don't. I think I dropped that on transfer. I think I need to install a program. Have it on here somewhere. I don't think so. I don't think I grabbed it, so. Okay, stand by. We're doing it live. Yeah, this is the thing, is the Amiga is like, it's really advanced for what it is. You especially think back to the time, and this is all like a full GUI that does all the stuff, And the more I mess with it, the more it makes sense. But the biggest thing that I'll run into is there's so many things that are like missing by default, right? Example here, there's no installer software. Like in this case, there's an install program, but there's nothing to run the installer. There's no built-in like installer or extractor. So now I take my compact flash stuff back to my regular computer. So 1 second. It's pretty funny because the installer software was in my download directories. I've done this before on other computers. But now we have to go back and, see, may recall, is to unmount the thing so I can actually put the compact flash adapter again. Maybe for now we'll leave the memory as is because there's no reason as we're going to mess with the PCMCIA slot anyway. Yeah, exactly. We don't need that. And again, it might be, I'm still new when it comes to this stuff. Like, I've gotten used to more with the Amiga OS, but I'm sure there are shortcuts or better ways to do these things that people are much more familiar with it know, and I just don't. So if anyone sees like, oh, you should do this instead, it's much quicker, definitely let me know, because I am still noob at this. Let's see, it should have been others installer. Okay, then we need to extract that. Oh, Now, where to drop this? I gotta look that up too, because I can't remember if you just run it or you drop it somewhere. README guide. Okay. That's the thing, is like experts on Amiga. I mean, it's a really full feature. Like Amiga OS 3.1 or Workbench 3.1 was released like what in 91 or something like that. It's just, I mean, what it can do. Let's see. Scripter and program, initial actions. Okay, so I guess we just... We probably drop that in our... oh boy. It is in devs, I think. No, it's in the files. See it? Install one there. Again, it just becomes me like fumbling around a little bit, right? It's just... Oh, there you go. So, so what happened there is I dropped basically the installer software, installer, not install, installer into, and think of it as like the, install wizard software basically that you have already baked into Windows, the equivalent one. And I dropped that into the C, which would be the equivalent of path directory. I dropped it somewhere where the operating system knows where to find it. So when I initiated now, it knew exactly where to find it. No reboot needed or anything. So, yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Every time I mess with Amiga, unless I'm playing a game, then I'm always like, oh, hang on. But I don't know. It's something really gratifying with how, when you make it work and click, it's, I mean, again, sure, you get to Windows 95 or something, and it just kind of has more features, but Amiga OS was really full featured for quite a while. So you can also do a pretend install, but we're going to install for real. Installation complete. Now we have the drivers for our network card. I guess is good. And we are going to, I guess, insert that card now. See what happens. Where did I put said card? Here it is. And so something we ran into in the past when we networked a older Mac as well is that it doesn't always want to negotiate with a brand new gigabit switch, because switch is like, it can't talk to it. So I actually have an older Linksys 10100 switch in between my gigabit switch and this, so that there's something as an intermediary. We'll see if that helps, maybe makes it worse. I don't know. Again, I'm doing this the first time now. I have networked the Amiga 2000 using a PLIP box. The PLIP box is basically like a parallel port network adapter. But it slows molasses, but it works. This should be faster in theory, but it also uses up the PCMCI slot. The idea being is that if I need to transfer something big, I plug this in, run the software, copy the stuff I need, be done, That's the goal anyway. So let's see. I don't know what this is going to do. I got to show on the action camera because I do not... This little thing here, it just feels so precarious. It feels like it's going to snap off at any moment, but there it is. All right, so we have the card installed. So now we need to extract Roadshow. Roadhouse. And remind, Roadshow is basically the TCP/IP stack here that we're using. You can use I think it's AmiTCP and a few other ones that are free. But the cool thing with this one is that it's a newer one, more modern. So it's been developed to make things a little smoother and easier. All these solutions work, but I had better luck with this one. Of course, now we'll just, not. We'll find out. Which is extracted, okay. Let's see, we'll do 15.LA. And you can do some of this extraction on not the Amiga, but what I found is that even though it's slower to do it actually on Amiga, because we're asking this, 14 megahertz CPU to do extraction now and everything, it seems to not play nice when you extract it on a DOS or a Windows-based environment. I've had problems when you copy files over because it doesn't have the right tags on everything, and there might be ways around it, but in general, I found it's much easier or better to copy the LHA archive to the Amiga and extract it there. Even though it's slower, it seems to just work better. So, and you may notice that there's the C director again there. And this is stuff that's going to put into the C directory now that's going to make commands available to run in the Amiga shell and everything. So that includes your ping, online and all that stuff to initialize the connections and whatnot. So basically the layers we're doing now, and again, this could be completely a dead end and not work. We have installed the drivers that's needed for the compact flash adapter, not the compact, the PCMCIA network card, in theory. We're installing Roadshow, which is a TCP/IP stack. Once we have that, you're basically at a point where you would be in Windows, where you already had the driver, sort of free COM adapter, and you have like TCP/IP added into network settings. And after that, you need the software, which is going to be like AmiFTP or something like that. So again, we're kind of winging it here now. We'll see if we can make this work. Because if we can successfully transfer a file from my NAS, then it's going to be a big moment. Install Roadshow. That's the thing here. This is a modern software, so it will let you do all this stuff. Someone's already built the installer for you. So we're going to install for real. Special version Roadshow and the PPO driver spot plans for Amiga system. Sure. Documents for Roadshow. About that. Drives. Apps. There already is one. Okay, that's fine. It just installs it over. It's just the software or the documentation, I think, reference, which is really useful. It has an entire, and now it's installing all the software that we need, like commands, like TCP/IP, ping, all those things that you might need in the operating system itself. So, please see documentation in for quick introduction. Please reboot your Amiga to start Roadshow. Installation complete. All right. I'm going to reboot set Amiga, which is control Amiga. Like, I feel like most computers have from this era, especially have a shortcut for reboot. And there we go. It's already booted. So it doesn't have to load anything. It's all in ROM, right? So that's the operating system isn't a ROM chip. So that's why I can load it so blazingly fast. Now, nope, I think it actually is booting. It froze here now, but it might actually be booting network. We're trying to grab a DHCP address. We'll see if it just hard freezes or not, or if we're just screwed now. Give it a minute. Yeah, it hard froze. So again, we'll give it a minute and see if it recovers. Otherwise, maybe we just completely screwed ourselves over now. Who knows? I don't know if there's any OS recovery built into the Amiga OS, but so if it's trying to retrieve an address or something, it might be getting stuck on that, and it will take a while to time out. Or maybe we need to reboot a couple times. Or maybe it doesn't like network card installed and it's not finding it. I don't know what the issue is there. Maybe we need to configure the settings in Roadshow before we have the card installed, right? As an example. So we'll give it just another minute. And if it doesn't recover, then we'll see. We'll see. No link light, so... Hey, Mike Boy, welcome. That's right, you're right. Thank you for reminding me. We can get around that, yeah. See if we can do a reboot here. I wasn't enough to. I took the PCMCI adapter out, and then see if maybe we need to configure something in a Roadshow setup here first. I don't think it liked that, so let's take a look at the documentation. Dropped it in. Go. Manuscripts. Go to edit, I think. Those guide files right there. Oh, it's freaking down here. Thank you. All right, installation. Configure network interfaces. Let's see. Means the Roadshow should read, understand, and apply what is described in the following section. I ain't got time for that. Configure network interfaces. Let's see. So we have a PPP Ethernet device, I guess, in this case, which we're seeing here. That's basically the device driver that needs to initialize it. So we may... say... Management net interfaces. Was manage net interfaces. Ooh, there we go. That did something. Look at that. Indirectory assist 3.5 move to devs network. Okay, so this oh, commit install. So we will move this. Okay, so basically, so there's two things here. And again, I'm not the Amiga expert here, but there's storage. Basically, is like the storage location of drivers and files for operating system, and you move it into where it should be. And I think that device for that 3C589 is missing. So nice. There we go. Network driver available now. So, I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's always that risk, right? Especially, I think the biggest risk we run into with things like the Amiga is the custom chipset. So it has multiple chips that are custom on here, and that's what makes the Amiga. Now, you can emulate that, right? So I think until we see, and maybe Ian can weigh in on that, since you're basically doing that with the PicoGus, right? Is replacing actual physical hardware with emulated components. And as long as there's things like that, I think that, there are entire like motherboards like Amiga that are like remanufactured motherboards, and you just move all the custom chips to it. And if you can emulate or replace the custom chips with FPGA, with PIs, whatever, eventually at that point you can duplicate the entire machine more or less, right? Also, you'd have things like the Mister, right, that could duplicate it on a hardware level. But yes, there's always that risk, especially again when you're getting into the stuff that isn't being made anymore. Like, there's one thing with off-the-shelf parts with a lot of PCs and everything, right? They still use a lot of the same components, but these custom computers, I mean, no one's making original, and I don't even know who has the license for Amiga right now, right? I know we have the Commodore situation with the Ultimate 64, but that's an FPGA recreation. It has no, like, I think it has slots for SID chips in there, but otherwise it has no, like, original custom chips in there. So at that point, is it still an original computer? Probably not. Does it do exactly what the original computer did? Well, yeah. So that's the thing, right? Where do you draw the line on that? So I don't know what that will do. Let's see, we should probably have read more in the documentation there now. Faces. All right, we did that. Did that. Then install. Okay, we did that. Configure cable. No, we don't need that. To manually. That's the thing. It's like each computer is unique, right? Especially you look at like when you get to the shared components with 46s and on. I guess that's paraphrasing it. You know, generally we use similar, components in that sense. But a lot of these computers from the 80s and early 90s, like the Amiga and Atari and stuff, there's a lot of custom chipsets and custom bespoke designs. See, we don't have a link light, so I'm not sure if you have to initialize. We have to configure. Let's look in the devs direct. Under devs net interfaces. This. So we have 3C509, so that's what we need to edit. Where were we now? Oh. Okay, here we go. Okay, so that's DHCP auto. See if we can pull it. What's the command to actually initialize the network? Because I think it's like online. Or request DHCP, so that's fine. We can do DHCP. Linear routes. Not worried about DNS. I just want to be able to get an IP. But there's no network connectivity right now, so I'm not sure if we have to initialize it. I'll add net interface. Oops, I can type it right. Could not add interface. 3C589. Input output error. That's the question. Is like, is there something that's a problem with this particular card? Does it not like the card, you know? There's no link light, so that's a... Could be that the card doesn't even work, you know, period. So we do have... ESL. Oh, Foil, welcome back. I think you were here earlier, but kind of just trying to wing configuration of network here. But I'm not entirely sure if this card does actually work. Stuff we went through. We know that. DHCP. VCF 5 at 9. So that's the drivers for the 3Com, basically. Yeah, 3Com Etherlink 3 PCMCIA card supported. It is not a Etherlink card, but supposedly this is supposed to work with any PCMCIA 10 megabit card. We can also try one of the other ones. I don't think the 10100 should work, but it's worth trying, so. We do have automatic on, that's fine. Kind of want to try DHCP if we can, I guess, but let's try one of the other cards just for giggles here. So for those that are joining late here, we have a stack of different PCMCIA network cards. If anyone is an Amiga expert and has messed with this before, do let me know. This is the first time for me here. So we have a 10100 LAN card bus. Again, I don't think this one's going to play nice, but it's worth a try. That sounds about something like Commodore would do. Can't even get this card in, so same connector. Might feel the there's like a plastic slide on the PCMCIA card, right? It's going to guide it through like a rail system, and I wonder if that's just broken here. Right, I got more. I'm just going to try a couple different cards and see if any of them work better or not. I'm not sure. I kind of doubt it, but... In fact, it might be that the 10100 cards literally don't... Yeah. It actually... So the card that works is really narrow. There's a little point here. Let's see if I can get that on camera, but... So... Focus. I guess the focus might be on my control. It's really hard to see, but one of these, the one on this side here, Sorry, it's like mirror is really difficult to point here. This side, uh, yeah, this side here has different size of the little plastic thing there. This side here basically prevents the card from inserting. So I think it's just probably something that is designed maybe a 32-bit card versus a 16-bit card or something like that. So this would have been like, boy, I don't know, 286, 386, something like that. I mean, someone correct me there, but at best. Put there. Yeah, it might be the wrong driver we have too, so maybe we'll try and do the installation again here for the card. So it has the Amiga 1200 has 2 megabytes RAM on board, and we have a memory expansion. Oh, well, look at that. I forgot. Okay, that's the problem. I think I know the issue there now. I am automatically starting that disables the PCMCIA slot, so I'm very dumb. So let's do that. Freaking thing was disabled. Of course, now I already forgot it was add. I already forgot. Let's see. We're going to go to System, Devs. I look back. I already spaced what it was. So what we're trying to do now is basically initialize the network card, right? And that's what's failing here. So, and yeah, I think your guys are right with the type differences, and that's that probably leads again to why a 10 megabyte card works, but a 101 doesn't, because they're just newer models or probably higher bandwidth and all that good stuff, right? So, figuring this, we're done with that. Add net interface. I have to could not add interface 3C589. Input output error. Trying interface configuration. Let's see. It found it because I'm using a different dongle thing now. Let's see if we can get a network link. Timed out. There's no link light. But I have a different 3Com card in now, which I think lines up. So the drivers are there, so that's a good sign. Like, I got no link light. And again, it could also be that this particular switch is a problem too, so. I'm going to bypass it and go directly to the device busy. Oh, yeah. Don't have to cancel. Don't have to cancel the command is running. How do you interrupt a command that's running? You can't. It's a mega feature. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move. Said move. I'm going to move the automatic RAM assignment away from the startup. Now we're going to reboot. It will not issue a reboot or issue the memory assignment. For those joining late there now, so the memory expansion I have goes in the trapdoor bay of the Amiga 1200, but it's got a switch that allows you to control the memory allocation via software. So if it actually will boot with that in there now. Yeah, there we go. So it actually will just there's a way to cancel a command. There we go. Control D apparently. This particular card, some of them do. Most of them do here. There's gold bands, or there's a little gold thing here. Your card that's installed, I'm not entirely sure. Still no link light, so that's the thing. There's no, like, network connectivity. And, like, everyone did this in school or not, but the OSI model, which is like the different layers of network traffic or connectivity, is that the lowest level is kind of the physical layers, and the first thing you have to do is have that physical connection, right? So right now, it doesn't look like it has a physical connection. Could be something with the driver, could be something with the dongle, or who knows what. I am going to, 1 second, because I think this is the right dongle, but if it's not, there is I saw another one. So in case I have a wrong dongle for it. So 1 second. That's the thing, too. It could just be that this card doesn't work, period. But this dongle is interesting because it is a direct... It's a direct, like, Ethernet on a connector, so... see how that works. device busy. Okay, got it. Indian bandana. We're fighting with dongles. So I'm not entirely sure that this card is initializing, and I don't know if this driver. I was thinking this card will be better, but clearly it's fine in the device. So link PC. Let's see if there's take a look and see if there's any other network drivers for this kind of stuff. Try a different driver too here. And as we did earlier, yeah, they are. So what I'm using here in particular is a compact flash PCMCI adapter, and I'm taking the compact flash to my modern PC, and I'm copying files that way. So I'm just going to grab a couple different drivers and see if they work better than this particular one. Copy some more drivers here. I do actually have a wireless B network adapter too for PCMCIA, but I think that's probably pushing the envelope a little bit. Yeah, worth a try on that one. CNET. Mount this correctly here now. There it is. And if we just end up in too many dead ends here, we'll just play some games instead too. That's always the option. But to make this work, it would be really cool. Drop CNET. See? Okay. Work. Installer here. Possibly good. Card info. Okay. Card already in use. I'm gonna kick a reboot again because I think that we already added the interface, so Roadshow may have taken over it or at least initialized it. At least to my knowledge, it doesn't auto-initialize it, so I'm just curious to see if that CNET software able to Reinsert card, try again. Oh, there we go. So it finds this. Appears to be a network card. So this is good. So that's... Also, we should stick on... Oh, I got a link light. I got a freaking link light. Got a link, but no connectivity. So how does this actually work? How to use it? Okay, so we need CNET device for 68020 CPUs. Simply copy the preferred version of CNET device to where you want, usually dev's network. So we basically need to do that and then run the roadshow again to commit or find that driver. And then we'll initialize that driver instead of using the 3C blah, 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 whatever that was. So we need the CNET. Base. No, it's not. Still be under, let's see, it's under information. Project. All right, let's see. I should probably not have closed that documentation there. But I think we're closer because I got a link. So that means that there's a physical connection now. We just need to initialize the card. So to actually create. So basically you have like the link layer, right? So now we have a physical connection, but we have not asked for a DHCP address or be just, you know, talking to the DHCP server or anything. So card info. Works. Simply copy the version of CNET device to where you want. It's usually devs networks. There's no network folder here, I think. Storage. Oh, okay, so it needs to be in directly here. Networks, there's the folder. Uh-huh. Okay, so And I'm not talking a whole bunch. I'm trying to like talk through what I'm doing now. I'm just on a roll, I guess. But so what we're trying to do now is basically put the driver files, the equivalent of driver files, into the directory where it's needed. Now we have that. And then now we need to run the Roadshow software to detect all the stuff, which I'll have to remember the command for that. Go and look at, no, that's the installation. Roadshow, and again, it's like, think about this, we're just hopping around a GUI here now, right? And that's like, the Amiga OS is very GUI based. And think about where DOS was around, late 80s or 90s, like, yeah, or Windows or GUI, if you will. Like a lot of these custom computers used a lot of GUI stuff where, DOS was primarily command line, which, plenty of computers are command line, but it's so neat to see how full-fledged and advanced this was. So let's see. Installation. The No, the command was here a minute ago. Not had an interface. Where was the command to? I was one to like read. What was the? Let's see. Status. Shut down. Network driver, maybe. I know there was a command ran earlier that just a guide. Maybe. Installation guide. There we go. Find network devices in the devs networks, which can be found in dev. So it's already in there. We should be able to, and there we go, manage net interfaces. That's the one I was looking at. Where the heck is my command line here? There we go. So that's what I wanted. Manage net interfaces. It install. Okay. Add net interface CNET. Hard reset failed. So it found it, but then it doesn't like it. Okay, I got it. But it might give us a lead over trying this. Let's take a look at the... Is anything different on the... In the... Yeah, that's basically what's happening. Is like we're trying to get PCMCIA network cards working on the Amiga 1200, and it does support it. It's just a matter of getting it all working correctly. And we're trying different drivers, like the 3C589 driver, which is a 3-COM PCMCIA network card driver, and it doesn't seem to be able to initialize it. So we're kind of running into dead ends on each one. It might just be that the cards I have are not compatible. And as simple as that. So you basically have the drivers, like you would on Windows or whatever, which we're copying there. Then you have the TCP/IP stack, which is needed to initialize the network, which is Roadshow, which is kind of like a modern reconnection or reset up of that. But then we're trying to initialize the network driver, and it's failing. On the first one, it just doesn't work. On the second one, it's just failing. So I'm trying different drivers here. And let's see, it's found it, right? Yeah. Here's my network card. Card info done. Found it. In a modification. Oh my. Jeez. We're gonna do that. Hard reset. Pretty harsh. So let's see. The CNET device is the one we used for 16 to 28 CPUs. CNET 16 variant. We need to use Ricardo to need 16-bit access register to read some. So maybe we need 16-bit. There a separate one for 16 bits. Let's try a 16 device. Let's see. We need to go to system. That's right. It needs to go into devs. Networks. Now, I already forgot the manage. There we go. Find into the 16 one. Go. So now we're moving the driver, installing it basically. Now we can call on the driver. Are not compatible. Find the card. I'm not surprised. Yeah, and it did show it earlier. We couldn't able to find it, so. Oops. Now, like in this case here, it can't detect the card. I have the card installed. This is a different model card. And it might also be a Roadshow thing too, right? It will reinstall Roadshow, but I have this card here, which is the one that's being found. But I think all the other cards are not compatible. Yeah, so looking at all the cards, the only one that I have, I think that's viable is the one that's detected, but then it's not able to initialize it. Again, I got a link light, so it's not able to reset it or initialize it. Um, I got a feeling the card's just not compatible. Maybe the dream dies there. We can try not to reboot again just to be sure. Let's look at the... Yeah, this is able to find it here. See? Able to locate the card, appears in network card, so it finds the megahertz 10 base T2 Ethernet adapter. Able to see it. Work or not work? Any 3 common here. Apparently there's a lot of network cards. I didn't realize there were so many models. Do not work. 3 com cards. Megahertz cards. That's pretty damning right there. Happen to be unlucky with the cards I have, I guess. So that tells me this driver does not work at all. 3C589 driver supposed to... There's a manual here. Link card. But at least it's got a link light now, so maybe we'll try it. I don't think so. I think it's probably just the compatible. I think it's just a matter of the card or the PCMCIA card. Try one more reboot. And it has a link light. Oh, it's trying to initialize it on boot up there now. No network interfaces are available and configured. Yeah, let's think where we're heading towards. I had a stack of cards. I figured like, oh, one of these surely should work, but then at least 2 of the cards I have are too modern. They will not fit in the slot, right? They're not the right kind. I'm not shocked there because it said like anything with 10, 100, it's just not going to work. But maybe I'll do one more scan in my network box just to double check. After that, we have to abandon the network dream of tonight. But it does make me want to get it working at some point. I just got to get a compatible card. It just happened to be every card I had, and it's quite a few. I mean, I'm sitting here on 4 PCMCI network cards. One that is, you know, the right range, and then one that's, yeah, 2 of them are megahertz cards, basically. So that's the problem. Yeah. So let me go do one more check and see if I have any other PCMCI cards, and after that, we have to abandon the network dream. So think if there's any games you guys want to play, because we'll just switch to that, I guess, so. Never give up, never surrender. So it's funny because I found I have this one. It's not going to work tonight, but it's a wireless B. So if you do, I could set up a wireless uh like network with B interface. But I have this. It's a really slim Toshiba. I did a video on this years ago. It has a network card in it, and I don't know what kind it is. It's a PCMCIe card. And it is an Easy PC Card 10. Does look promising. However, I don't know what the dongle is for this guy. This match with a normal dongle, so let's see what happens. So this is SMC card. It's completely different. It looks to be a 10 card. So looks like it's the right kind. Let's check the... Okay, it found it as a network card. So that's possibly promising. Oh, that's right. So it added the card. Might just be the dongle that's not correct. Device busy. We'll try a reboot. I don't know if this is the right dongle. I'm gonna have to go hunt for it quick too, because now I'm like, I can smell the... And the reason that card is in there, the reason that card was in that machine was because it was networking. And I'm driving me nuts now. Looking at my own freaking video here now to find... Are you using a network dongle with it or not? Hey, Suka, we're fighting network. I just have a network card here now that we're going back and forth on a whole bunch of cards. I may have to give up here soon, but it's just we're tantalizingly close because there is a... We've gone through a multitude of different artisan inserters already in use. Card info done. I mean that it initialized it. Networking interface is available and configured, so it found the frickin' thing. So Roadshow now has it, but the dongle doesn't work. I just had that dongle now too. It's... Oh boy. Yeah, we're basically, Suka, we've gone through multiple network cards, and none of them play nice with this Amiga, just depending on the version and what it is. The challenge we're running into now is that I found a card that might work, but I don't have the right dongle. So, And I have other cards. We've gone through like 4 of them, and none of them worked with the Amiga. This one appears to do work, but the dongle I have is not correct, I'm pretty sure. Because it looks like it initialized the card correctly. I'm trying to think now what to do, because yeah, it is finding it. Yeah, I mean, you can do that, right? You can use a modem on the parallel port or something like that. It's probably perfectly fine. And that's actually one thing that does work, and I've used on the Amiga 2000, which is the Plip box, which uses kind of like a modem connectivity thing that you hook up to your parallel port and then initialize it that way, and that works, and it's fine. But it's just really slow because the parallel port is not fast. And in this case here, I think this card will work. I just don't know where the freaking dongle is. And the question is if I could take... Let me look for a couple minutes, and if we can't find it at that point, we'll just call it good. But in the meantime, maybe we can turn on some a demo or something so you guys can watch that. So you guys just sit here idle. I'm gonna turn on this demo. I'm gonna go look for the dongle real quick. Why not? I found it. I can't believe I freaking found it. Got a link light. This is one of my favorite demos. This track is amazing. But show's over. Okay. I actually had bought, I remember now, I had bought this adapter for my laptop back in college because I needed something hardwired. I don't think it had a built-in Ethernet port or something. I think I bought it super cheap or whatever, but it looks like it's successful. So we're going to restart the computer, get a fresh connection. We'll see. I got a link light now, so I know it's the right adapter. SMC. We can see a transmit. It's pinging. Not pinging. We'll see here now. This was the one. Network interface is available and configured. Name resolution service are configured. Routing is configured. We have freaking ping response. First try. Pleasant. Oh god, that's satisfying. How much being in IT, getting a response or ping or connectivity or something like that from... Okay. So now we have configured a driver. We have a driver. We have the TCP/IP stack. So now we need to actually use software to do something. I think... Did I... Yeah, this doesn't... I think we just have GUI FTP. Let's see. This is in a icon. Can't open that. No, I don't have a browser on here. I can probably grab that too. But this is not a public internet connection. So probably just do is it... Right. So what's the... Oh. Duh. Oh, it's, let's see. We're in. This is pretty cool. So is it, the command to change the local LCD? Oh boy. What directory am I in? I can't remember. I'm trying to think of what, if we grab a file now, it's going to drop it in the spot. So, and that's the thing. We need to install a graphic. Well, that's right. I have the SMB stuff, so let's mess with that. I actually do have SMB share, and that was the idea. Is if I can get a graphical user interface, like we know the FTP is going to work. I'm not too worried about that. But a Samba browser will be the easiest thing to use because that's what the NAS presents a Samba 1. Notice the memory. We're chewing up about a mega memory just using this. So the network is not something I want to have auto-initialized, but, you know, it's just for the purpose of this because I don't want to need it. I don't want to start until I need it, right? But let's take a look in the network as I did. I did grab SMBFS. So now we're on to the next thing. Now we need an actual software to use with the whole thing. Well, I think so. I can use one of these. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if you were here or not for that, but I have these flash disks, which are PCMCIA hard disk, basically, or, flash storage back in there, equivalent. And you can pop that into PCMCIA slot and actually use that as swap memory. But I don't think it supports, I could be wrong here now, I don't think it supports like a swap file in the traditional sense that you might be expecting, so. Okay, let's go to that directory and see what, if anything, this will do. Does it extract? Drop it right in there. Let's see. I'm looking through the, there's a GitHub on this one, so. Where the heck is that's the source code, but oh, there it is. Okay. So let's service must begin with slash at. Right, but we'll see. I don't think it's liking that. See if we got that right. Okay. Oh, I forgot. All right. That up. So, get out of this. I cannot. Reboot. Sorry, it has a chance there, but I messed up the command line there to connect. So what we're trying to do now is basically establish the Samba share. And if you're not familiar with networking in general, Samba is kind of the what you consider like a normal file browser, right? It helps when the boot time is so freaking quick because of the ROM. So let's see. Maybe this will be the coup de grace now. Right directory. That's what we need. Mounted. Can I see anything? I believe we are in fact browsing our retro NAS from the Amiga using Samba. And here's the Amiga folder. Let's see if we can grab something from here. Here's it's just, okay, it's parsing the whole thing here. This is ridiculous. Wow, this is... So this have to be running in the background then? And minimize it. So it's not super clean, but I can probably set up some script file or something. But in this case here, now let's see. I want to copy this over here. How long does it take to copy? And it's done. Wow. See if it actually showed up. There it is. And there's a new game. That's sweet. Like, it's a little clunky, but then I can streamline this, but we are now, and I can see the link light, we're now copying we copied something over Samba Share, which is mounted as a drive on the desktop, basically, until we're done. And now I'm extracting the file, whatever. But of course, this chews up into memory, and we're using the PCMCIA slot for this too. Our available memory has dropped. Well, we're down for, so we are normally over 2 meg of chip RAM, and we are usually 4 meg of RAM. Morning, MC Marco. But now, this actually successfully works as a transfer mechanism, so I do need to clean this up here. This is a pretty, just AGA folder. I already copied a whole bunch over here. But this is pretty freaking slick. So let's see what we have in apps here. Yep, here's a whole bunch of apps I've dropped in here. Simple Player. Mods here, tons of them. And this has to do with, like, if you're listing something like this, you're going to get a problem with memory because it's trying to index all this stuff, right? But this is all through network now. Like, we're browsing the NAS from the Amiga. This is so cool. Sorry, networking is exciting to me. But I think I copied way too many mods in here. Think what to do here because this directory is just so gnarly right now. I have too many mods in here. I think in the one, well, not too many, I guess. There we go. Just copy the freaking over. Now we can play it. It's fast too. Forgot about that. Not what I wanted to do. Wrong app. Run this one. Guess I'm not sure what name it had there now. I can just look like this. Bear Leech Lotus 2 title mod. Look at this multitasking. It's all built in. Name it showed up under here as, but I think it will be in there. I have too many windows open too. Leech Lotus 2 title. The name is too big. I just want to see if it can find it. Concept. There it is. There you go. Well, this is a file we just copied from the NAS over network. Now, it's going to make it a lot easier to get files onto this machine when I need to. Just pop in a network card and initialize it and start the SMB share connection. And bam, copy whatever big files. 10 megabyte is going to be a lot faster than running back and forth out of floppies or compact flash or whatever. So that's exciting. Yeah, we got there in the end. Well, that's that. Sweet. Well, being able to just do this is pretty freeing. And the fact that it's just sitting right here, you see, those are all the other things that are on this share, right? So there's a whole bunch of BMP 3DFX wallpapers, eDuke, random things I dropped on here, so you can definitely see it. That's usually what I do is when I have a network set up like this, I create a folder for, hey, Amiga Vision, welcome. We just connected our Amiga 1200 to the network after much back and forth. So we have not tested out the Amiga Vision tonight because we got on a crusade to get networking working. There you go. And that actually is working. But yeah, I like to have a folder for, like, for example, the Mac. I know that the applications and stuff I want for the Mac are in there. In the case here, this is the Amiga one. That's all the good stuff in it. So nice. Yeah, it took a little while to get this working because I went through, I think, probably 4 PCMCI adapters. 2 of them were possibly working. I happened to find one in an old Toshiba I used, and I didn't have a dongle, found a dongle, and several hours later, here we are with a connected network using the CNET driver, I think, and coupled with the Roadshow stack, and then SMBFS to connect to Samba here. So, first try. I think I've already copied most of these games. Yeah, these are stuff that I stored here to copy later, but I can do, let's see. I think the nice part now too is that I can drop files. I can prep and everything. Because the thing is that, like, yes, the compact flash thing we used earlier with the compact flash card and the PCMCIA works great, but it's still bulky and everything. And copying by command line is tricky because you have all the names that are horrible. So now what I can do is that I can drop files on my NAS into that directory, rename them there, connect the Amiga, find them, and just copy them over much easier and extracting them that way instead of going the other way around. So, for example, I'm just copying all the AGA games, which I definitely all own, into a folder here under games, and then I can much easier transfer over AGA games. So I'm kind of curious to scan through if there's, because I haven't tried all the AGA games yet, which of course the 1200 supports, which is cool. A much easier way to get them on here. I can find one that I like, rename it, and then copy it over pretty easily. Yeah, this is, I love networking everything, and that's my goal, to have everything networked. The only one I'm a little iffy on is the Atari ST. I think it has networking stuff, but it's not, doesn't seem quite as easy, so. That was pretty quick, too, to copy stuff. I'm curious now if we grab one of the bigger games. Oh, there's a UFO anime. No, an AGA. I didn't realize that. Going to, not apps, games, AGA directory. Of course, memory becomes a problem here now in a sense because we're using up. We can't access the full 8 megabytes of the expansion card because we're limiting it so that we can use the PCMCIA slot. Okay, here's all the AGA games. Alien Breed 3D, how well does that work on the sucker in a non-enhanced one? A lot of AGA games, actually. I think it's about 160, 170 in this folder. Blobs, Body Blows Galactic, there's that one. Trying to look for something into Chaos Engine 2. I don't think I ever tried that. You can see some of the ones I've already named here because it was easier to copy in that way. So, Civilization. Not going to work on loading them up. And I mentioned earlier, it's like I do love what the Amiga Vision does, but sometimes I do enjoy this to build the machine up from scratch, if you will, and installing and adding things on my own. Makes me kind of appreciate them and sort of like work through it a little more than just having a big list, which is super convenient. Gloom AGA. Try that, have we? Does Gloom run well on this? Well, let's see. Can we rename this from here? We can. I'm curious to see if that's reflected on Windows side. Yep, sure is. That's sweet. All right, so now we can do this. We can go and copy. See how long it takes to copy over a 10 megabit network. Yeah, I know I should. I'm still getting used to Amiga stuff and everything, and I really should. I just enjoy doing it this way as I'm learning and getting used to it. But yeah, I should use Opus. The problem is that for someone like me who is coming from scratch, having never really, I mean, my Amiga exposure when I was younger, my neighbor had a Amiga 500, right? And that's where I got most of my exposure for the Amiga. And he had, Amiga with a floppy drive and an external floppy drive. That was it. So we didn't have any of the hard drive fancy stuff or command line or, operate any of that stuff. We just like got games on floppy and played them there. That was it. Drop that into G. Question is if we can run this with the amount of memory we have now. It's a pretty demanding game, and we have restricted that, so we can probably, I'm looking curious if we do all this stuff. We're going to unmount. Think so? Just with that? We'll figure that would limit the CPU a little more. Or Gloom runs on a stock, not a stock, but does run on an A500? Well, not AGA, but... Yeah, we'll see, especially with WHE load, right? We're asking it to do network stack, Samba, and then run a game, so... Sure. I haven't doing anything. I'm going to disconnect anyway, but... Control-C to stop it on mount. There we go. Stopped. Now we're going to take this out. Where did I drop the frickin'... Oh no, I moved it. Oh boy. Don't remember where I dropped the... There it is. Here we go. Get some memory back. There we go. It had to get the memory going before it fired up. Yeah, I never tried Gloom, but it's first time for everything, right? Yeah, that's true. Loom. Look at that hand-drawn graphics. Oh, yeah. We are playing first-person shooter on the Amiga. I feel like you could probably make it a little bigger. No, exactly. This is really forcing Amiga to do something it was not designed to do. Considering, it's like a Game Boy Advance title almost. But considering how fast it's running, you probably could get a bigger view window, but I don't think it supports that, does it? Can't change that up. Weapon boost. How do you... There we go. Okay. Oh, yeah. Now we're talking. Continue. Yeah, it's still fully playable. But can you increase the... Just high res or just low res? They all are the same res. I don't know what the resolution it does. Where's that? There's a new... I keep forgetting the name. What's the game of the new game coming out? Where it's in progress. That's like a first-person shooter that looks to be pretty polished. I always forget what it's called. See, we're playing first-person shooters on the Amiga. Like I mentioned earlier in the stream, the Amiga was just not designed for this kind of third-person, or this sort of 3D, right? It's not this forte, and that's not what the graphics were designed for. And this is kind of like shoehorning it in. And that's the kicker, right? When it comes to the Amigas, everything was probably designed to run on a stock A500, or at least with the 500 with the memory expansion. So no one is going to want to develop and or just the A1200 or something when the install base is lower than the 500, right? They're going to hit for the lowest common denominator. Oh, ran out of health. But yeah, you look at this and like, yeah, it's, yeah, you know. It's, 3D was the rage, right? Even though that I feel like, you know, a well-designed Amiga game using AGA, it can look fantastic. 3D is not it. I don't even know what the AGA does for this game. I haven't tried it on the stock A500 either, so... Oh, heck is that? I do like the gibbing though. It's pretty spectacular. Okay, it's like Gloom AGA, but I don't know if that actually means anything. Alright, well, that's cool, but maybe not the game I need to worry about. So, I'm curious now if we do PCM slot is enabled. was queued up to launch still. Real low on memory now because it let's fire it up. So I was already forget the command. It was that it? Do I remember it? I did. Haha. Probably directly connected to the Amiga share, honestly, but now I can go in and grab another AGA game easily enough. How slick. Those who have Super Stardust is kind of like feels like the archetypical AGA game to try, right? Or show off. What other games would you say Amiga Vision there for good AGA games to not necessarily for performance or like power maximum or anything like that, but what's a good showcase for AGA? Banshee is one, right? Slam Tilt we did earlier. That's a really good looking game. Yeah, probably eventually I'll drop, extract and drop all these in here. Did we do Banshee already? Let's see if I already have it. Yeah, Banshee, I already grabbed it, so we can try that. I just wanted to see what else to copy. Just, I don't know. The prospect of being able to drag and drop files like this so easily is so nice. But I assume once it's mounted like this, any directory management should be able to, excuse me, to manage it, since it just shows up as a drive now, right? For the Amiga, it's just another drive. Glory, Humans 3, Jungle Strike. A lot of these I've already copied. You can see the names are shorter. Those are the ones I probably already copied, so that should make it a lot easier to copy stuff back and forth. Mutant League Hockey, Heimdall 2. Mega Ball, is that a breakout clone or anything like that? I'm not sure if this is a complete inventory of all the AGA games made, but it's, yeah, so like 170 of them in here, so. Shaq Fu, AGA, I mean, wouldn't want that. I know there's Simon the Sorcerer. I know Skid Marks is also a really good AGA game, right? I might have already again. Skid Marks, but not the AGA version. Fix that. Or Skid Marks maybe it's only AGA. Or even a non-AGA version of Skid Marks. Copy. A little bit of a larger game, right, too. So Skid Marks is pretty, I won't say late, but it's definitely later in the Amiga life. It's like, there we go. So nice. Yeah, I don't need to get directory opus. I'll probably make this a lot cleaner. I should have renamed it. Yeah. Jack Fu, there he is. Yeah, this is really convenient. I did. Yeah, I suppose. I forget that Amiga has all this stuff built in, like up for remembering and stuff like that, but I'm a little curious if I still So I'm using a 10100 switch in between. I'm a little curious to see if the network still works when I go through. Let's see if that still works now when I have connection. I think so. Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Theme Park. I really need to grab some of the UFO Enemy Unknown. I really need to grab some of the boy, I'm just forgetting words. Some of the newer games. Oh, that works. So yeah, I was okay. This is going directly to gigabit switch now, which is what I was wondering. So like when we ran internet or networking on an old Mac, it did not like connecting directly to gigabit switch, but this PCMCI network card is apparently enough juice that it handles it just fine. So okay, I already installed it. Never mind. So I've already been here. Top Gear 2. Probably already copied that. Yeah. Need to continue doing this, I guess, with the AGA games. So let's play some more AGA games. Let's disconnect. Where the... There it is. It's connected. We'll plop this out. Reinitialize the memory. There we go. We're back to almost full power, but we're running still network stack, but I'll figure that out. I'm probably going to set it up so that it only starts on my manual command. I don't want it to auto start because 99% of the time I'm not networking, although I like to set all this up, and I have plans to do my home network so that I can actually get to the internet from my retro network. Right now that is not possible. It's isolated, so I don't want my retro computer directly on internet among my regular network. So I don't want something to pivot from my retro machine to my regular network, so I'm going to do some routing to make that happen. So, did we... I forgot what the hell we copied. Wow, my memory is like a goldfish. What the heck did we just copy? Oh, we have skid marks anyway. Oh, skid marks AGA, right? So we copied, but extract it. We did. That's the one we did. Yeah, I think the Street Fighter port on Amiga was not terrific, I think. So, networking. Oh, that's right. You can do networking connection to play skid marks online. There's a problem that you run into. Think of yourselves playing Street Fighter. How many buttons do you need? The Amiga has one. You see the problem already. If I remember right, the Street Fighter version on Amiga requires you to do a whole bunch of like hold button and do like a whole bunch of moves with the joystick to make it work, and it was just not a good one. I'm sure there's been adaptations or better ones since then, but loading AGA cars, all right. Yeah, there's so much good music. Loading track. Super off-road vibes here, to say the least. I love top-down racing games like this. I mean, I'm terrible at them, but... Is there like a... I seem to remember RMC was talking about... there was like some online version of skid marks now that people are just playing like crazy and just get leaderboards and stuff. Whoops. There you go. It's a nice little, like, voxel 3D-esque. This feels like an evolution of, you know, the... Oh, that sucked. Of the supercars formula and everything. And Nitro and all those. Hit esque to quit. Skid marks. Can I race again? Boy, the collision detection is pretty aggressive. You touch something and bam, slow down. Yeah, stock car racing now. Gotta learn the track and where to hit the gas and where to not. This feels like a good use of AGA, right? I mean, it's like it looks a little nicer. Not that I have to compare it to the regular version too, I guess, but... Isn't there a super skid marks too, or am I misremembering that? Yeah, right, I won. Already learning. F10 to race. No. Alright, well, that's skid marks. And I do feel like I should... creating works now. It's getting late creating things. So we have Super Stardust. That's what I was thinking. A gorgeous presentation in this game. Even though it is just like a, you know, asteroids equivalent, so. Good evening, 005, Agima. Yeah, the focus for those who join late now, the focus, a big chunk of the stream was to network this Amiga 1200, which we successfully did now thanks to finding a drawer or plugged into a different computer and a dongle for this easy PC card. Yeah, easy PC card, literally says that. 10 Ethernet network card from SMC that I bought, I think, in college to network my laptop at the time. And this worked with Amiga. We tried a whole bunch of different PCMCIA network adapters, and none of them worked. But that one that I happen to have worked. So it saved me a trip to eBay. Okay. Got it. Shooty shooty. Music in this game is great. And I just feel like, you know, at least there's new games being developed in Amiga. Quite a lot, honestly. I mean, I'm way beyond the curve on that, but I know there's a lot of stuff happening. Especially with this... For the Scorpion engine, right? This is kind of like a development toolkit for making platform games, stuff like that, on the Amiga. AGA games and whatnot, but it feels like there was kind of like a... You know, this shows a little bit what could be done with AGA and when they were really comfortable with the sound capabilities and everything. It just feels like a really good multimedia package, and I wish more games like this. I'll start from the beginning, because I'll tell you what, I have not played this enough to get to the tunnel level. Remember, I haven't done 1200 very long, and I haven't really done a lot of emulation. But we can try a tunnel level after this. I actually have a box for this on PC. I saw it come up cheap and like... Found the asteroid. Bonk. I suppose you can quit out of this game while you're playing. This is probably supported now, so... Good pros, I don't know. Thinking about it. That's what I love about exploring the Amiga in general, too, because you go into a platform that you sort of know, and there's so many games to find. Yeah, no, we can probably use the... Yeah. Let's fire up that tunnel level then quick, and then maybe call for that, but... oh, you can select word, even. Oh. When you explore a platform you haven't really messed with that much, it's like, it feels like Christmas again, you know. I had a Super Nintendo growing up, for example, so I loved, like, poking around the Genesis, because there's so many games I never saw, never experienced, you know. It's really neat to mess with that, so... yeah, I think it was an Amiga. It was sitting on a kind of like a end table side, right? I think I mentioned it, like I was curious about the 1200, but, you know, that was their personal one, so... Oh, you gotta be kidding me. You can't... It's... That was envious. Listen to music. Great platform. Warp sequence. Navigate through asteroid and minefields to reach the end. I'm sure this will go swimmingly. Okay. It's not liking this at all. I don't like what that was, but... Look, the Amiga can do 3D. Woo! Heck-a-boom! A little fast. I just suck at these sprite scaling flying games. Like the same way, like Space Harrier, terrible at it. Can't get through like the first level. I just can't gauge the distance, I think. I have autofire, I didn't realize. Fire, yes. Yep. Revenant, thanks for stopping by. See you next time. Maybe I'll make it out of this alive. Probably not. Buddy! I survived. What's going on with the, well, the Amiga is real, like, as it's loading, it's, blinking power. It's drawing too much juice. Whoa. I don't have any... Okay, boom. Yeah. I had to play them more, too. That's the thing, is like, there's so many games that I really do want to play that I haven't. And it's just fun to see the ones that I haven't messed with, like, for example, like, you know, with the AGA stuff. Which one did we? Gloom extracted. Right. Clean up the... Oh, maybe I did delete the... No, that one. That's the one. Deleted. I also did try, I saw it as the news and everything around the new updated stunt car racer that makes it run way faster, like without breaking the game. So that's something I need to check out too. Maybe I should make a separate folder for AGA, but probably not. But Only World of Lemmings are... Yeah, I don't know. The A1200 is just a freaking, like, feels like a sweet spot, a realistic sweet spot, because I mean, I'm sure everyone would want Amiga 4000, which would be, for those unfamiliar, would be the top dog basically of Amigas. Most likely not just for gaming, the ones that were out in the wild, but it is the top dog, most expandable one, but also costs a fortune if you find one. 1200 at least is semi-attainable or reachable, which I hadn't planned on having one or getting one unless I stumble on one. Until I found this one at VCF. So I do have, like I mentioned earlier, a broken one that I've tried to troubleshoot with no success, unfortunately. It's broke. Something I think is really bad with it. It might be one of the custom chips or something, but yeah, either way. This was a fun stream. I'm very, very excited and very happy to have found this dongle thing so we can actually network the Amiga. I'm excited to put it back where it goes on the desk here and network it, have it available to be networked, which is really, really slick and easy to use. So. And yes, we will try and do a separate stream for Amiga Vision at some point here. And maybe if you want to come on as a guest at some point, we'll figure that out. It'll be fun to go through because the Amiga Vision package, I mentioned it before too, is just a fantastic, like, all-in-one. I want all the stuff the Amiga can offer in one easy-to-use, bundle. Just that's where you go. The Amiga Vision is a great one because you don't have to do any thinking, as it were. Install it, good to go. In fact, it works on original hardware. On the Mister is a great place to use it. Works on Pi and just anything. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for subbing. Seems like it's spreading a little more now that I feel like when a channel goes like dormant for a while and then starts producing content again, it kind of gets recommended. So I'm enjoying streaming again. My wife is really encouraging me to stream on a schedule, which is why we're doing it now every Tuesday, pretty much, with some minor adjustments. So at the moment, I'll be back next week and I'll see what I do then. Maybe we'll do some more Amiga, I don't know, or something else random. That's why it's random and retro. But anyway, I appreciate everyone hanging out, sitting through as I'm beating my head against the table on the networking problems, but I'm finally finding a solution. So appreciate it, and I will see hopefully everyone next week. Otherwise, I'll see everyone on Discord, online, and all the good stuff. So have a good retro week, and I will see you guys later. Have a good weekend, and good night. Where all my windows went now. Found it. Good night.